Because I used to be shy and awkward, I've been developing my social confidence since 2004. And now I have like-minded friends and a quality partner. Today, I'll condense over 20 years of my experience to help you build meaningful relationships. These are also the exact same advice that I've given to all my past clients who are mostly introverts. But first, let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen someone walk into a room and start talking to strangers like it's no big deal? I know I have, and I used to wonder how the heck they were able to do that. Not knowing any better, I just thought that they were naturally charismatic. And because I wasn't, I automatically believed that I could never pull that off. But there's something most people don't realize about social confidence. And once you get this, that's when everything changes. For this to make sense, I want you to imagine going to the gym for the first time. You've never worked out before, and you don't know how to use any of the equipment. So you hired a personal trainer to help you get started. At first, you feel weak and awkward. But the more you show up and the more reps you put in, the stronger you get. The same thing goes with your social confidence. This isn't something that you're born with, but a skill that can be developed. And just like any skill, you get better through practice. So how do you actually pull this off? To help you get started, let me tell you a quick story. In 2008, I was living in Calgary and it was going through a pretty bad recession. That's why I got laid off from my structural design job. So to make ends meet, I ended up working as a server at a restaurant. And because I used to be painfully shy, I was really nervous at first. But I knew that if I didn't engage people, I wouldn't get any tips. That's why I forced myself to go beyond just taking orders. At first, I made some small talk. And then I learned to tell good stories and added some playful banter as well. And after a while, I had a lot of regulars who would come in and see me. In fact, some customers would even ask me to hang out with them after my shift. As you can see, if you practice consistently, you can become more outgoing as well. That's why you need to stop waiting for the right moment to feel ready. Instead, you start taking small risks so you can get some quick wins. Every time you speak up, say hi to a stranger, or engage in a group, you're putting your reps in. Eventually, interacting with people will become part of who you are. In fact, my client who's a software engineer did the same thing. He just focused on approaching one person per day until eventually, he's been able to host his own events. As you can see, when you stop sitting on the sidelines, you create more opportunities for yourself. To help you out, I made a free cheat sheet that will show you how to approach and talk to anybody. Get your free copy in the description below. But if you don't understand this next point, you'll still struggle socially. You'll feel hesitant and you'll overthink your interactions. And because you're stressed out, your mind goes blank and you can't come up with anything to say. You see, there's something that most people overlook when it comes to feeling confident during their interactions. And once you get this, you'll start to feel more relaxed. For this to make sense, let's pretend you're driving. If you don't know where you're going, the journey feels so stressful. You'll get stuck on the wrong lane, miss your turn, and take the long way around. But when you're clear on your destination, you're not worried because you know exactly what you're doing. The same thing goes in your conversations. If you don't know who you are and what you want, you'll always doubt yourself, which will make you feel unsure. So, how do you actually fix this issue? For me to answer that, I want to share something personal with you. Back in my early 20s, I was really insecure. I'd go to any social event and I'd be way too agreeable. I'd just nod along, smile, and keep my thoughts to myself. That's why I was always so drained. I just felt like I was performing and wasn't being really who I am. This went on for years until I finally got tired of it. That's when I sat down and started to make a list of things that I cared about. So for me, it was things like personal growth, honest friendships, and meaningful work. And once I had that list, I noticed a shift in me. I stopped doubting myself and felt more self-assured. As a result, I felt more confident bringing up topics that I cared about. I started sharing my real opinions, even though they were a little bit different. As a result, people got to know the real me, which made them feel more comfortable opening up as well. But most importantly, I finally felt like I was being my true self. When you're clear on what you value, you stop trying to fit in. As a result, you'll feel more confident in any social situation. By the way, if you want to learn how to build meaningful relationships, I'd love to connect with you. Book your free consultation by clicking the link below. But if you don't implement this next point, that's going to be an issue. You'll walk into a room and it's like you don't even exist. Either that or you say something in a group and nobody really reacts. And even though you're not doing anything wrong, somehow it feels like you're getting overlooked. For this to make sense, I want you to imagine two restaurants. One is clean, well lit, and has nice decorations. The other one has dust on the floor, flickering lights, and smells kind of weird. Both could serve the exact same meals, but which one would you actually prefer? If you're like most people, you'd go with the first one, right? You see, as human beings, we all make snap judgments. That's why if you want people to take you seriously, you have to present yourself more intentionally. I actually learned this lesson the hard way. You see, when I was a teenager, I was really into playing video games. I was always at home, and that's why I never really cared what I looked. On top of that, I also ate a lot of junk food, and that's how I ended up gaining a bunch of weight. So even though I had good intentions, a lot of people ignored me because of my appearance. The girls that I liked never liked me back, and I rarely got invited to any parties. Tired of feeling left out, I made a commitment to turn my life around. That's when I started working out and eating healthy. I upgraded my wardrobe and got clothes that actually fit me. I also got into self-development and improved my mindset. And when I did those things, I started getting treated better. I'd walk into a room and people would greet me first. I'd speak up and the group would actually listen. I'd go on dates and I could tell I was building real chemistry. So if you're tired of getting overlooked by others, just pick one area you're going to improve this week. You can go to the gym, work on your style, or read a book that expands your way of thinking. To be honest with you, it doesn't really matter what you do first. What matters more is that you start showing up like someone who values themselves. My client who's a civil engineer actually did the same thing. Because he presented himself better, more people took him seriously. Remember, becoming a high-value person isn't about impressing others. It's about becoming the kind of person you're proud to be. But that's not enough. Without this next point, you'll always feel self-conscious around people. Like you're there physically, but mentally, you're somewhere else. You're so worried about how you're coming across, which makes you doubt everything you say and do. For this to make sense, imagine having multiple tabs open in your browser. So even if you're doing a simple task, everything lags and you get nothing done. You see, that's exactly what your brain feels like when you're overthinking everything. You're trying to have a conversation, but you're also wondering what people think of you. All that mental noise drains your energy, and that's why you can't act like yourself. You see, as an immigrant, I know this experience all too well. When I moved to Canada from the Philippines back in 2003, I had a hard time assimilating. In fact, I used to feel intimidated being around so many white people. And it's not because anyone was being mean. It's because I thought people were judging me because I was different. As a result, I wouldn't take any risk in social situations because I was terrified of making any mistakes. But things started to change when I finally did this one thing. I took the attention away from myself and put it on others instead. I followed my curiosity and started listening just to understand. As a result, I felt more at ease and was able to show my personality more. Whoever I was chatting with became more responsive, which allowed me to connect with them much faster. So, if you're tired of feeling stuck in your head, let go of any pressure to impress others. By doing so, you'll feel less stressed out and you'll enjoy socializing more. But if you don't implement this next point, you'll often feel discouraged. You'll be putting in a lot of effort to be social, but it'll seem like nothing's working. For me to explain this to you, I want you to think about your finances. When you make small purchases, it's easy to let them slip by every now and then. But when you get to the end of the month, you're shocked by how much you've spent. That's when you start paying more attention to where your money's going. And because you're more aware, you're able to make adjustments, cut back, and start saving. The same thing goes with your social interactions. By tracking what you do, you start to see what works and what doesn't. Let me share with you how I figured this out. In my early 20s, I used to go to bars and clubs every single weekend. I just thought that was the best place to meet people. But no matter how hard I tried, I never felt like I was making any real connections. Out of frustration, that's when I started journaling about my experiences. And after doing that for a while, what I discovered actually surprised me. I had more genuine conversations in more relaxed settings. Cafes, meetups, and self-development events all seemed like a better fit for me. And once I realized that, I shifted my approach, and that's when my social life really took off. I felt less drained and I was able to create more quality connections with others. But how do you actually implement this? When you get home from any gathering, just write down what went well, how you felt, and what you're going to do differently for next time. My client, who's a machine learning engineer, actually did the same thing. As a result, he was able to focus his efforts better, and started seeing real progress in his social life. As you can see, when you start tracking things, you'll be able to make smarter decisions. You'll put yourself out there more effectively, which will help you find your kind of people much faster. But there's something important that we didn't talk about today. If you want to succeed socially, you have to be able to maintain your interactions. If not, then you'll always have awkward lulls, which will make others feel uncomfortable. To make sure that doesn't happen to you, watch this next video. That's where I give you more actionable tips to never run out of things to say. By the end of it, you'll become a lot more talkative, so make sure you check it out.